This is the day you have trained for. The day you have studied for. Utilize your superior skills. Your superior intelligence.
Sit down, rodent!
Sarah, baby? Oh, you were one fly.
Don't make me hurt you.
Learn to defeat your ruthless enemy, Steve of Hackensack.
Ryan, you're gonna get roofed.
Shut up, quadruped.
Sega Dreamcast. It's thinking.
Hey guys, how's it going? And I finally got a Sega Dreamcast. I've been waiting for the system for a long time. I have a lot of memories with it, and yeah, I would just like to talk about it. Now, this was my first game system. I remember when my dad bought this home in 1999. I know I probably shouldn't remember that considering I was born in 97, but either way, whatever. This was basically my first game system, and I remember playing 2 games on it. It was some racing game, I don't remember what it was, and Seaman. Looking back on it, I probably shouldn't have been playing Seaman, but it's whatever. I had a good time with it, and yeah, just playing Dreamcast back in the day was a fun time. But now that I have the system, I honestly know what I'm going to be collecting for it. Of course, a few games I need to get automatically is Sonic Adventure, Shenmue, I forgot what that one game was. I think it's Space Channel 5, and a few others. But of course, I do know collecting for the system is going to be really expensive and hard to find. But still, I like the system for what it is. It's fun, it's quirky, came out at a weird time, and yeah, I like it for that. Now, a few weird system facts I like to bring up, and this is weird, but the original Xbox power cord actually works for the Dreamcast. Now, I know Microsoft and Sega had a great relationship. Of course, you could see by the Windows CE thing on the Dreamcast. That kind of makes sense, but it's just weird that an original Xbox power cable works for the Dreamcast. It's weird, but it's convenient for me since I don't have to use more plugs. Now, another weird fact, the VMU. Unfortunately, my Dreamcast didn't come with this, so my apologies for not showing that, but the VMU was like a memory card and sort of a Game Boy, really. I mean, it's weird, but some games have little mini games on the VMU, which is, I don't know, it's weird. Like, I can't imagine taking this thing out in public with me back in the early 2000s. It's weird. And a weird fact about the Dreamcast that nobody knows about is that Sega was about to release I don't know what you would call it, but it's sort of like a DVD machine to go with the Dreamcast. Now, like I said, I know I'm a boomer, but back in the early 2000s, having a DVD player was a big deal. And of course, with the Dreamcast coming out at a weird time, it had to compete with the PS2, OG Xbox, and GameCube. I'd say 2 of those systems carried DVD players. The Dreamcast didn't, so obviously Sega had to compete a little bit, so they made a sort of a DVD player for the Dreamcast. I don't know how that would work, but yeah. And I should have mentioned this before, but the Sega Dreamcast was Sega's last system. So after this system, Sega actually left the video game console market. I would say it's mostly Sega's fault in the Sega Genesis and Saturn era. Of course, with the Sega Genesis, they released all these modules and all these different components of the Genesis. To be honest, I believe they should have just released a new console or at least an updated version of the Sega Genesis. I would say the 32X or the Sega CD kind of led to Sega's downfall, and the Sega Saturn was really an underrated system. I didn't even find out about the Sega Saturn until I started collecting. I'd say those are the major parts that led to Sega's downfall, and of course the relationship between Sega America and Sega Japan. If you guys want to, I'd love to make a video on Sega's downfall. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see that video, but back to the Dreamcast. So I'd say Sega went all out on this console. I would say it went out with a bang instead of a whimper. This system had online play before the original Xbox, and yeah, man, the Sega Dreamcast was an absolutely great system. But speaking of the original Xbox for 1 second, did you know that the original Xbox was meant to play Dreamcast games? I know Microsoft and Sega had a close relationship, but it would be cool for the original Xbox to play Dreamcast games. And actually, in a somewhat weird way, the original Xbox is kind of the Dreamcast too, if you think about it. Now, maybe that's a video on its own. Maybe I might just compare the Dreamcast to the original Xbox, because it has a lot of similarities that people don't even know about. Either way though, I'm a big fan of the Sega Dreamcast. It was a weird system that released at a weird time, and it was ahead of its time. You know, with all those rumors a couple months ago about a Dreamcast Mini, how would they exactly do it? I don't know. Maybe that might be another video on its own. Either way, if you guys like this video, maybe like, subscribe, do it if you want to, it's your decision. And tell me some memories you have with the Dreamcast down below. See you guys later. Peace.
Soul making, sound shaking, earth quaking, change. Soul making, sound shaking, earth quaking, change.
Now let me tell you something. If my black ass went down there and hopped inside the Capitol building, let it be known they would have dropped a fucking Kim strike on me, dog.
Ramirez, get those minorities out of there. Ramirez, use the grenade launcher against the minorities. Ramirez, shoot the watermelon. Okay, wait, that's too racist.